The massive ship drifted silently through the dark void of space, its hull gleaming with an otherworldly blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Inside the command chamber, three very different beings studied the holographic display floating. Between them, the image showed a small blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star in what the galactic map's called Sector 7439. Commander Rex stood tall on his four powerful legs, his reptilian scales shifting from dark green to amber as he processed the information. His yellow eyes, each the size of a human fist, focused on the primitive structures dotting the planet's surface. "This world shows signs of basic civilization," he hissed through razor-sharp teeth. "But look at their technology levels. They still burn fossil fuels for energy." Beside him, Overseer Lux hummed with crystalline resonance, her translucent body catching and refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns across the walls. Her voice rang like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. The Council's deep space scanners detected electromagnetic emissions from this system 3 cycles ago. When we investigated, we found these creatures attempting to communicate through radio waves. Radio waves, Rex. Can you imagine anything more primitive? The third being in the chamber had no physical form that the others could easily describe. Admiral Zix existed as pure energy, appearing as a shifting column of bright particles that changed color with his emotions. Currently, he glowed a dismissive purple. "I have reviewed their communication attempts," his voice echoed from everywhere, "and nowhere at once. They sent mathematical sequences, simple pictures, and something they call music. Their most advanced achievement appears to be launching small metal containers beyond their atmosphere. It took them over 100 rotations just to reach their own moon." Rex's clawed hand gestured toward the display, zooming in on one of the planet's continents. "Our preliminary scans show they have divided themselves into nearly 200 separate political entities. They fight constant wars over resources that could easily be shared. They poison their own water and atmosphere while arguing about solutions. These humans, as they call themselves, are clearly incapable of advanced reasoning." "The biological scans are equally disappointing," Lux added, her crystalline form shimmering with what might have been amusement. 8 hours of unconsciousness, every rotation just a function. Their bodies fail after less than 100 rotations of their planet. They cannot survive in most environments without artificial protection. By every measure of galactic civilization, they rank far below even the grubs of Kepler 442. Admiral Zix pulsed with orange light, indicating agreement. "The Council of Apex Species has made its decision. This world will be designated as a nature preserve under the Galactic Protection Act. The humans will be contained within designated zones where they can continue their primitive existence under proper supervision. Meanwhile, we will harvest the planet's abundant resources for the benefit of advanced civilizations." "Such generosity seems wasted on creatures so limited," Rex commented, his tail swishing behind him in irritation. "On Scythia, we would have simply claimed the world and relocated the native species to more suitable environments. But the Council insists on these humanitarian protocols. The Nethron philosophy teaches us that all life has value, even primitive life," Lux replied, though her tone suggested she found this principle somewhat tiresome when applied to such backwards creatures. "Besides, the humans may prove useful for manual labor once properly trained. Their crude hands might be suitable for tasks too simple to waste advanced automation on." The display shifted to show dozens of ships positioned throughout the solar system. Each vessel belonged to a different member species of the Council. Though all shared the same advanced technology that allowed them to traverse the galaxy in mere rotations, rather than the thousands of cycles it would take these humans to reach even their nearest planetary neighbor. "Our scouts report that the humans have detected our presence," Admiral Zix announced, his form shifting to a deeper blue. "They are attempting to communicate with us using their primitive radio technology. Some of their governments are mobilizing their military forces, though these appear to consist mainly of chemical-powered projectile weapons and crude explosive devices." Rex's laugh sounded like grinding stone. "Their most powerful weapons release energy equivalent to perhaps a single pulse from our basic defensive systems. A human infant with a rock poses more threat to one of our maintenance drones than their entire military. His occupation will be completed before the next meal cycle. I almost feel sympathy for them, Lux mused, her crystalline body dimming slightly. Imagine their terror as they realize how vast and advanced the galaxy truly is. They have spent their entire existence believing they were alone. And now they discover they are less significant than the smallest organisms we catalog on routine surveys. The chamber fell silent except for the gentle humming of the ship's systems. Through the transparent walls, stars wheeled slowly past as the massive vessel adjusted its position above Earth's largest continent. Smaller ships detached from the main fleet, descending toward the planet's surface like glowing seeds scattered by an enormous hand. "Initiate the containment protocol," Rex commanded. "All major population centers are to be secured within the next rotation. Resistance is expected to be minimal, but any humans who attempt to damage Council property should be sedated and relocated to the holding facilities." "What about their communication networks?" asked Lux. "They appear to share information across their entire planet almost instantaneously through something they call the Internet." Admiral Zix brightened to indicate confidence. "Our technicians will monitor and control their information flow. Any attempts to organize resistance will be detected and prevented. These creatures think in such simple patterns that predicting their behavior requires minimal processing power." As the first landing ships entered Earth's atmosphere, their hulls glowing from the friction of descent, Rex allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Another primitive world would be brought under proper galactic oversight. Humans would initially resist, as all primitive species did, but they would quickly learn to accept their new place in the cosmic order. Within a few cycles, they would probably be grateful for the guidance and protection offered by their superior neighbors. "Begin the broadcasts," he ordered. "Inform the humans that the Galactic Council claims sovereignty over this system for their own protection and the greater good of all civilized species. Any resistance will be met with appropriate containment measures." The great ships descended through Earth's blue sky like falling stars, their arrival marking the end of humanity's age of isolation and the beginning of what the Council confidently believed would be a simple, routine occupation of yet another primitive world. The morning sky over New York City burned orange as alien ships descended like metallic clouds, their shadows swallowing entire city blocks. President Maria stood at the window of the White House bunker, watching the same scene play out on screens, showing London, Tokyo, Moscow, and every other major city on Earth. The surrender had been swift and absolute. Humanity's most advanced fighter jets had been disabled by gentle pulses of blue light, their pilots unharmed but helpless as their aircraft simply stopped working and drifted safely to the ground. "They didn't even fire a shot," General Paul muttered, staring at the reports flooding in from around the globe. Every military installation on the planet went dark simultaneously. "Our satellites are still broadcasting, but we can't control them anymore. It's like they just reached out and turned off everything electronic we own." 3 months later, the world had settled into an uneasy routine under alien oversight. Commander Rex had established his headquarters in what used to be the United Nations building, though the humans were still allowed to maintain their local governments for what the aliens called administrative convenience. The new reality was simple. Humans could continue their daily lives within designated zones. But all major decisions now required approval from the Galactic Council representatives in the sprawling relocation camp outside Denver. "Former Colonel?" Pete Williams watched a group of alien technicians examining a crashed human drone. The Scythian workers moved with casual confidence, their powerful claws easily tearing apart metal components that had taken Earth's best engineers months to design. What struck Pete most was how dismissive they seemed of human technology, tossing aside circuit boards and processors like children discarding broken toys. "Look at them," whispered Dr. Mei Chen, crouching beside Pete behind a stack of supply containers. The biochemist had been studying tissue samples from the aliens whenever she could find them, usually scraped from surfaces they had touched. "They handle our most sophisticated equipment like it's made of mud and sticks." Pete nodded, but his eyes were focused on something else entirely. One of the alien devices, a small cube that seemed to generate the blue energy pulses, had been carelessly left on a nearby table while its operator examined the drone's engine. May, do you see that little box they're using? The energy projector? Yes, I've been watching it all morning. Notice how it responds to their touch but ignores ours completely. I think it reads biological signatures or maybe neural patterns. What happened if we could figure out how it works? May's expression shifted from curiosity to something more dangerous. Pete, you can't be thinking what I think you're thinking. If they catch us tampering with their equipment, they won't catch us, Pete said quietly, because they don't think we're smart enough to try. That evening, as the alien work crews returned to their ships for their rest cycle, Pete and May approached the abandoned examination area under cover of darkness. The energy projector sat exactly where it had been left, apparently forgotten. Pete reached for it carefully, half expecting some kind of alarm or defensive system to activate. Nothing happened. They just left it here, May breathed in amazement. It's like leaving a loaded weapon lying around and not expecting anyone to pick it up. Pete lifted the device, surprised by its lightness. The surface felt warm and seemed to pulse gently in his hands. Can you figure out how it works? May produced a small collection of improvised tools from her jacket pocket. Over the past months, she had been gathering anything that might help her understand alien technology. Magnifying glasses, small mirrors, even modified smartphone cameras that still worked despite the electronics shutdown. The surface appears seamless, but there must be some way to access the internal components. As May worked, Pete kept watch for any returning aliens. The camp was quiet except for the distant hum of the alien ships floating above the city. Most humans had long since retreated to their assigned shelters, accepting their new role as supervised. Residents of their own planet, Pete, come look at this, May called softly. She had managed to locate what appeared to be a hidden panel on the device's underside. I think this might be some kind of interface port, but the connection system is completely different from anything we use. Pete examined the tiny opening May had discovered. Ow, what if we tried to create an adapter? Something that could bridge between their technology and ours. With what? We don't have access to advanced manufacturing anymore, and even if we did, we don't understand the principles behind their energy systems. But Pete was already thinking beyond the immediate problem. What if we don't need to understand their principles? What if we just need to observe how the device behaves and learn to mimic those behaviors? And May began what would later be remembered as humanity's first reverse engineering project of alien technology. Working in secret, using salvaged components from abandoned electronics and improvised tools. They slowly began to decode the basic functions of the energy projector. Their breakthrough came when Dr. Sam Rodriguez, a former NASA engineer, joined. Their clandestine research group, Sam had been working in another section of the camp, officially assigned to food distribution, but his real passion lay in understanding the alien transportation systems. I've been watching their shuttles, Sam explained during one of their midnight meetings. The way they move isn't consistent with any propulsion system we understand. There's no visible exhaust, no reaction mass being expelled, and they can change direction instantly without any apparent acceleration forces affecting the occupants. Could it be some kind of gravity manipulation? May asked. That was my first thought, but I don't think so. I think they're actually altering the properties of space itself around their vehicles. If that's true, then their technology operates on principles that our physics barely recognizes as theoretical possibilities. Pete looked up from the disassembled energy projector spread across their makeshift workbench. Sam, what would happen if we could combine their spatial manipulation with our existing propulsion technology theoretically? We might be able to create hybrid systems that exceed the performance of either technology alone. But Pete, we're talking about integrating science that's probably thousands of years ahead of us. Maybe, Pete said, holding up a small component they had successfully removed from the alien device. But they're not thousands of years ahead of us in creativity. Look at this thing. It's incredibly advanced, but it's also incredibly specialized. It does exactly one thing, perfectly, every time. There's no flexibility, no adaptability. May nodded slowly, like they designed it. to work flawlessly under specific conditions, but they never considered what would happen if those conditions changed. Exactly, and that might be our advantage. We think in straight lines. We think in spirals. As the months passed, their small group grew. Word spread carefully through the camps about humans who were learning to understand and modify alien technology. Former military officers, scientists, engineers, and technicians began forming what they privately called study circles, each group focusing on different aspects of the alien presence. Lieutenant Mike Torres, a former Air Force pilot, managed to gain access to the area where disabled human aircraft were being stored. He discovered that the alien shutdown systems hadn't actually damaged the planes. They had simply interrupted the electrical systems. With careful modifications based on principles learned from the captured alien devices, some of the aircraft could potentially be made functional again, Dr. Lisa Park. A computer programmer realized that the alien communication networks, while incredibly advanced, followed logical protocols that could be mapped and eventually understood. If humans could learn to interface with these networks, they might be able to access information far beyond what their captors intended to share. The aliens, meanwhile, remained supremely confident in their control. General Keth, the Scythian military commander, reported regularly to Commander Rex that the human population was adapting well to their new circumstances. Minor incidents of resistance had been easily contained, and most humans seemed resigned to their situation. The creatures are actually quite docile once they understand their position, Keth observed during one of their regular briefings. Their simple minds cannot conceive of challenging our authority in any meaningful way. Overseer Lux agreed, her crystalline form glowing with satisfaction. The harvesting operations proceed ahead of schedule. The humans perform basic labor tasks adequately when properly supervised. Some show surprising mechanical aptitude for such primitive beings. Neither alien leader realized that this mechanical aptitude was rapidly evolving into something far more dangerous than they could imagine. The moment had finally arrived. After 3 years of secret preparation, the human resistance was ready to reveal what they had become. In hidden facilities across the globe, teams of humans stood beside machines that would have seemed impossible just a few years earlier. These hybrid devices combined the raw power of alien technology with human innovation in ways that their original creators could never have imagined. Captain Max Torres, formerly Lieutenant Mike Torres, checked his modified flight suit one last time. The alien energy cells integrated into his equipment hummed with barely contained power, while humanized targeting systems displayed tactical information directly into his visual cortex. Around him, 24 other pilots prepared similar equipment, each wearing armor that made them faster, stronger, and more capable than any human in history. All units report ready status, Max spoke into his communication device, which instantly connected him to resistance cells on every continent. The responses came back in rapid succession. London ready, Moscow ready, Tokyo ready, Sydney ready, and dozens of others. In the command bunker, beneath the Rocky Mountains, former Colonel Pete Williams watched displays showing the positions of every alien installation on Earth. The screens themselves were marvels of hybrid technology. Alien quantum processors running. Human-designed software that could analyze and predict tactical situations with stunning accuracy. Strategic oversight confirms all targets are locked, announced Dr. Ray Kim from his position at the central control console.
Yeah.
The physicist had become their military technology coordinator, designing weapons systems that used alien energy manipulation to accelerate human projectiles to impossible velocities. Communication networks are fully penetrated, added Dr. Lisa Park, her hands dancing across an interface that looked like liquid light. I have complete access to their command systems, and I can disrupt their coordination the moment we begin. Pete looked around the command center at the faces of men and women who had spent 3 years transforming from defeated refugees into something the galaxy had never seen before. Anna, what's the status of our fleet? Strategist Anna Walsh, formerly a Pentagon analyst, gestured toward a massive 3-dimensional display showing the positions of 47 spacecraft hidden in Earth's atmosphere. These ships looked nothing like the sleek alien vessels or the crude human rockets of the past. They were hybrid creations, powered by alien quantum drives, but controlled by human neural interfaces, capable of maneuvers that violated every known principle of space combat. All ships report ready for deployment, Anna confirmed. The pilots have been practicing with the neural interface systems for months. Our flight capabilities now exceed anything in the alien fleet. Tom, are you ready to take down their power? Grid engineer Tom Bradley nodded from his position at the energy control station. I can shut down every alien installation on Earth simultaneously, or I can overload their systems selectively. Either way, they'll lose all power within minutes of the attack beginning. May, what's the status of our ground forces? Dr. May Chen had evolved from biochemist to military coordinator over the past year, helping design the enhanced equipment that made human soldiers more than a match for their alien occupiers. 15,000 fighters are positioned around major alien installations. Each team has access to weapons that can penetrate alien armor and energy shields. More importantly, each team knows exactly where to strike for maximum effectiveness. Pete took a deep breath. Sam, tell me one more time that our ships will work. Dr. Sam Rodriguez smiled confidently. Pete, our hybrid drives don't just work, they work better than pure alien technology. We tested the prototype last week, remember? It outran, outmaneuvered, and outgunned 3 alien patrol ships simultaneously. And those pilots didn't even realize what they were chasing until it was too late. The breakthrough that made their revolution possible had come 6 months earlier when Tom discovered that human neural patterns could do more than just interface with alien computers. They could actually reprogram alien systems at the quantum level, rewriting the fundamental rules that governed how the technology functioned. This discovery had led to the development of what they called evolutionary technology, alien devices that learned and adapted based on human thought patterns. All teams, this is command, Pete announced. Operation Liberation begins in 60 seconds. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're proving that evolution beats perfection, that adaptation beats optimization, and that creativity beats pure logic. Around the world, humans who had spent 3 years living as prisoners began moving toward targets they had been studying and planning to attack since the first day of occupation. In New York, a team led by engineer Dave Kim approached the Alien Command Center through maintenance tunnels, their hybrid equipment making them invisible to alien sensors in London. Physicist Dr. Beth Wilson activated a device that would reverse the polarity of every alien energy system in the city, turning their own power sources into weapons against them. Similar teams in Paris, Berlin, Moscow, Tokyo, and dozens of other cities prepared to execute coordinated strikes that would cripple alien operations across the globe. The first phase began with Dr. Lisa Park sending a single command through the alien communication network. In less than 3 seconds, every alien computer system on Earth received instructions that caused them to begin executing human-designed programs instead of their original alien software. Neural virus is active, Lisa reported. Their computers now think they're taking orders from human operators. Simultaneously, Tom Bradley activated the power grid overrides that his team had been installing for months. Alien energy systems across the planet began drawing power from human-controlled sources, making the invaders dependent on equipment they didn't even know existed. Power grid capture is complete, Tom announced. Every alien installation is now running on our energy systems. Commander Rex felt the first signs of trouble when his command console began displaying information in human languages instead of Scythian script. What is the meaning of this malfunction? He hissed to his technician. Unknown, Commander. The system appears to be translating all data into primitive human symbols. But before Rex could investigate further, the lights in his command center dimmed and changed from the familiar blue-white of alien technology to the warmer yellow of human lighting systems. Emergency alarms began sounding throughout the ship, not with the ordered tones of Scythian alerts, but with the chaotic wailing of human warning systems. General Keth, report your status, Rex commanded into his communication device. Commander, we are experiencing systematic failures across all systems, came the reply, but Keth's voice was distorted by interference that sounded almost like human laughter. Our weapons will not activate. Our shields are fluctuating. Our navigation systems are displaying star charts in human mathematical notation. Similar reports flooded in from Overseer Lux and Admiral Zix. The crystalline being's normally melodious voice carried notes of panic as she described how her mining operations had suddenly stopped responding to commands. The energy-based admiral flickered with colors that indicated confusion and growing fear as he reported that his ships were moving according to flight plans he had never authorized. On the surface, the second phase of the human uprising began. As teams of fighters emerged from hiding places the aliens had never suspected existed. These weren't the same humans who had surrendered 3 years earlier. They moved with enhanced speed and strength, their hybrid equipment making them appear almost supernatural to alien observers, Captain. Captain Max Torres led his squadron of hybrid aircraft in the first aerial engagement between humans and aliens since the occupation began. His fighter, powered by alien quantum drives, but controlled by human intuition and creativity, danced through the sky in patterns that alien targeting systems couldn't predict or follow. Contact with Alien Patrol Squadron, Max reported as his weapons systems locked onto 3 enemy ships. Engaging now. The alien pilots, trained in thousands of years of conventional space combat, found themselves completely outmatched by opponents who fought with no regard for traditional tactical doctrine. Human pilots used their ships like extensions of their own bodies, making impossible turns and attacking from angles that defied all military logic. Within minutes, the alien patrol ships were disabled, their crews unharmed, but their vessels completely powerless. The same scene played out in skies around the world as human forces demonstrated that 3 years of preparation had transformed them into something the galaxy had never encountered before. In space above Earth, the alien fleet found itself surrounded by ships that had appeared seemingly from nowhere, vessels that moved with impossible grace and carried weapons that could penetrate any known defense. 2 years had passed since the occupation began, and the world had grown eerily quiet on the surface. The aliens had settled into their routine of resource extraction and human management, confident that their primitive subjects had accepted their fate. But beneath this peaceful facade, something extraordinary was happening in the hidden spaces where humans gathered to share their discoveries. In an abandoned subway tunnel beneath London, engineer Tom Bradley stared at the impossible sight before him. The alien quantum computer fragment that their resistance cell had acquired 3 months ago was responding to human thought patterns in ways that defied everything they understood about both human neurology and alien technology. Tom's hands trembled as he placed them on the crystalline interface, feeling the strange tingling sensation that meant the device was reading his mind. "Show me the power distribution network for Sector 7, he whispered, and instantly his vision filled with a 3-dimensional map of the alien energy grid covering half of Europe. Lines of force flowed like rivers of light, connecting mining stations, transport hubs, and command centers in a web of incredible complexity. "Tom, are you seeing this?" Dr. Mei Chun's voice came through their modified communication system. A hybrid device that combined human radio technology with alien quantum entanglement principles. She was 3,000 miles away in the Denver facility, but their jury-rigged network made distance meaningless. "I'm seeing it, May. The whole network is laid out like a circuit diagram. And I think I understand why our neural patterns work with their computers. Tell me." Tom pulled his hands away from the interface, his mind still buzzing with residual information. "Their computers are designed to process pure logic, right? Perfect crystalline thought patterns without any chaos or creativity. But human minds are different. We don't think in straight lines. We make random connections. We see patterns that aren't really there. We imagine possibilities that don't exist yet. And that breaks their system somehow?" "No, it doesn't break. It makes it better. Their quantum processors can handle our chaotic thought patterns as additional variables, which means they can process far more complex calculations than their designers ever intended. It's like we're giving their computers the ability to dream, cross the Atlantic." Dr. Sam Rodriguez was making his own breakthrough in the ruins of what had once been the Kennedy Space Center. The alien shuttle he had been studying for months had finally revealed one of its deepest secrets. The propulsion system didn't just manipulate space. It created temporary pocket dimensions that allowed the craft to step outside normal physics entirely. "Ray, you need to see this." Sam called to physicist Dr. Ray Kim, who was calibrating their latest experimental device. "I think I know why. Human-modified alien tech works better than the original versions." Ray looked up from the power coupling he was adjusting. Over the past year, he had become their expert on alien energy systems, learning to coax impossible amounts of power from devices the size of cell phones. "What did you find?" "The aliens design everything to work within very specific parameters. Perfect efficiency, zero waste, completely predictable outcomes. But when we modify their tech with our equipment, we introduce controlled randomness into their systems that should make things work worse, not better." "That's what I thought too, but look at this data." Sam gestured toward a display showing energy output measurements from their hybrid devices. "The randomness we introduce creates quantum fluctuations that actually increase the system's overall efficiency. It's like the alien technology was missing a crucial component that our chaotic human engineering provides." Meanwhile, in a hidden facility beneath the mountains of Colorado, former Colonel Pete Williams was coordinating what had become the largest underground network in human history. The resistance had grown from a few scattered groups of scientists and engineers to a global organization spanning every continent. They called themselves the Integration Project, and their goal was nothing less than the complete reverse engineering and improvement of alien technology. "Status report from all cells," Pete announced into his communication array. A device that looked like it had been assembled from spare parts but could reach resistance groups anywhere on Earth instantly. Responses flooded in from around the world. In Tokyo, a team led by engineer Yuki Tanaka had successfully created hybrid weapons that combined human projectile technology with alien energy systems. The result was devastatingly effective against alien materials, while remaining completely undetectable by alien security scans. From Moscow came news that Dr. Boris Petrov's group had cracked the alien atmospheric processors. Learning not only how they worked but how to reverse their effects, the aliens had been slowly altering Earth's atmospheric composition to make it more suitable for their own species. But now, humans could undo those changes in Sydney. Marine biologist Dr. Helen Davies reported that her team had discovered something remarkable about the alien biological scanners. Devices were so sophisticated that they could detect and analyze any Earth-based life form. But they had a curious blind spot. They couldn't properly scan humans who had been exposed to certain alien technologies for extended periods. "What do you mean they can't scan us?" Pete asked. "I mean exactly that, Pete. After months of working with alien tech, our cellular structure has been subtly altered. We're still completely human, but we're registering as something the alien. Scanners don't recognize. They see us as statistical anomalies and tend to ignore the readings." This discovery led to another breakthrough. Dr. Lisa Park, working from a server farm hidden beneath Chicago, had been attempting to penetrate alien communication networks for over a year. The revelation about scanner blind spots gave her a new approach. If their scanners can't properly read us anymore, maybe their security systems have the same limitation, she explained during a group conference call. "I'm going to try a direct neural interface with their communication hub." "Lisa, that's incredibly dangerous," May warned. "If they detect you in their network, they'll trace it back to all of us. They won't detect me if I'm registering as a scanner anomaly. Their systems will probably classify me as background noise." Lisa's attempt to penetrate the alien network succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. Not only did she gain access to their communication systems, but she discovered that human consciousness could navigate alien data structures in ways that the original designers had never anticipated. Where alien minds saw rigid hierarchical databases, human perception found fluid networks of interconnected information. "I'm seeing everything," Lisa reported, her voice filled with wonder and terror. Their entire operational structure, their long-term plans for Earth, their assessment of human capabilities. "Pete, they have no idea what we've been doing. Their reports classify all our activities as routine salvage and maintenance work by supervised primitive laborers. What are their long-term plans? Pete asked. Complete terraforming of Earth within 20 years. They plan to relocate all humans to what they call reservation worlds in distant systems. Earth will become a garden world for alien colonists. Revelation sent shockwaves through the resistance network. They had known the occupation was permanent, but none had realized the aliens intended to remove humanity from Earth entirely. How long do we have? Asked Tom from London. According to their timeline, the first major relocations begin in 3 years. But Pete, there's something else. I found technical specifications for their ships, their weapons, their defensive systems. And I think I understand why our hybrid technology works so well. Explain. Alien technology is like a perfectly tuned orchestra playing the same song over and over. It's beautiful, it's flawless, but it's completely predictable. Human technology is like jazz improvisation. It's chaotic. It makes mistakes, but it can adapt to anything, and we combine them. We get something that can improvise with the power of an orchestra. As Lisa spoke, similar realizations were occurring to resistance members around the world. The aliens had given humanity the greatest gift possible, without realizing it. Access to technology that became more powerful when filtered through human creativity and unpredictability. In the Alien Command Center above New York, Commander Rex reviewed the latest efficiency reports with satisfaction. Resource extraction was proceeding ahead of schedule, and the human population remained docile and cooperative. The primitive creatures had even begun helping with basic maintenance tasks, showing a surprising aptitude for following simple technical procedures. The humans continue to exceed expectations as manual laborers, General Keth reported. They show remarkable dedication to maintaining and repairing equipment, often working without supervision. Neither alien realized that this maintenance work was actually the systematic infiltration and modification of every alien system on Earth. 6 months after Liberation Day, as humans had begun calling it, the galaxy was a very different place. Where once the great ships of the Council of Apex Species had dominated space lanes with their overwhelming technological superiority, now sleek human vessels moved freely between star systems, their hybrid drives making them the fastest ships in known space. Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of the flagship Unity, watching through the main display as Earth grew larger in the viewport. She was returning from the Centauri system, where she had just concluded negotiations with the hegemony of minor worlds, a collection of species that had been waiting centuries for someone powerful enough to challenge the Council's dominance. Admiral, we're receiving communication requests from 17 different star systems, reported Communications Officer Dan Park, Dr. Lisa Park's younger brother, who had proven to have an even greater talent for managing alien communication networks. The Rigel Collective wants to discuss trade agreements. The Vega Alliance is requesting military support against Council expansion, and the Tau Ceti Federation is asking for technological assistance. Kate smiled as she looked at the data streams flowing across her console. Meant 3 months ago, humanity had possessed exactly 0 interstellar allies. Today, they were at the center of a growing coalition of worlds that saw them as liberators rather than conquerors. Schedule meetings with all of them, Dan, but make sure they understand that any alliance with humanity is based on mutual respect and shared benefits, not domination. The transformation hadn't happened overnight. After the successful liberation of Earth, humanity had faced a crucial decision about what to do with their newfound power. The alien occupiers, led by Commander Rex, General Keth, and Overseer Lux, had surrendered when they realized that human technology had not only matched, but exceeded their own capabilities. The moment of truth had come when Pete Williams, now Director of Human Space Operations, had been asked by the captured alien leaders what humanity intended to do with them. The galaxy had watched nervously, expecting the primitive species to exact bloody revenge for 3 years of occupation. Instead, Pete had done something that shocked every advanced civilization in known space. He had offered the aliens a choice. They could return to their homeworlds as prisoners, or they could remain on Earth as partners in building something entirely new. We spent 3 years learning from you, Pete had explained to the assembled alien commanders. Your technology taught us things we never could have discovered on our own. That our creativity showed you possibilities your logic alone could never have imagined. Together, we can build something better than either of us could create separately. Commander. Rex had been the first to accept the offer. The proud Scythian warrior had seen his most advanced ships outmaneuvered by human pilots flying vessels that incorporated the best of both civilizations' technologies. Your species possesses capabilities that our strategic doctrine never accounted for, he had admitted. Perhaps there is wisdom in learning from such unpredictability. Overseer Lux had taken longer to decide, her crystalline consciousness struggling to process the concept of voluntary cooperation between unequal species. But when human engineer Tom Bradley had shown her how human neural patterns could enhance Nethrin crystal technology to create computing systems of unprecedented power, she had agreed to join the partnership. Admiral Zix had been the most resistant, his energy-based consciousness finding it difficult to accept that primitive biological beings could contribute anything meaningful to advanced civilizations. But Dr. Sam Rodriguez had changed his mind by demonstrating human intuition could solve quantum mechanical problems that pure logic found impossible to address. The real breakthrough had come when Dr. Mei Chen proposed the establishment of the Galactic Federation, a new organization based on cooperation rather than domination. Unlike the old Council of Apex Species, which ranked civilizations by technological advancement, the Federation would recognize that every species brought unique strengths to the galactic community. The Council failed because it assumed that technological superiority meant overall superiority. May had explained during the first Federation Assembly, held in the rebuilt United Nations building on Earth. But we've learned that creativity, adaptability, and cooperation are just as valuable as advanced science. The Federation's first major test had come when the Outer Rim Territories, a collection of worlds on the galaxy's edge, had requested help against raiders using stolen Council technology. Traditional galactic law would have required months of bureaucratic review before any assistance could be provided. The Federation responded within days. Captain Max Torres, now commanding a squadron of hybrid fighters, had led the relief mission to the Kepler system. His ships, crewed by both humans and volunteer aliens working together, had not only driven off the raiders, but had done so without firing a single shot. Instead, they had used human-modified alien technology to disable the raider ships, and then offered their crews the choice between prison and rehabilitation. The raiders chose rehabilitation. Max had reported back to Earth. Apparently they'd never been given an alternative to piracy before. Now they're helping us establish new trade routes through their former territory. This approach became the Federation's standard operating procedure. Instead of simply defeating enemies, they offered them the chance to become partners. The strategy worked because it was backed by technology that made resistance pointless and cooperation genuinely beneficial. The hybrid ships that emerged from human-alien collaboration were marvels that exceeded the capabilities of either civilization alone. Human creativity had found ways to combine alien quantum drives with Earth-based neural interfaces, creating vessels that could respond to their crew's thoughts at the speed of light. Alien precision had refined human weapon designs to create defensive systems that could protect entire star systems without causing collateral damage. But the most important innovation was organizational rather than technological. Ambassador Dan Walsh, Anna's diplomatic counterpart, had proposed the creation of mixed crews for all Federation vessels. Every ship carried humans and aliens working together, their combined perspectives, solving problems that neither species could handle alone. "We're not trying to create a human empire," Don explained to a gathering of skeptical alien diplomats. "We're trying to create something that's never existed before. A truly cooperative galactic civilization where every species contributes according to their strengths." The proof of this philosophy's success could be seen throughout Federation space. On Mars, human terraforming techniques, enhanced by alien atmospheric processors, had created a garden world in just 2 years. On Europa, Nethrin crystal technology, guided by human intuition, had established the galaxy's most efficient mining operations. In the asteroid belt, Scythian engineering combined with human adaptability had built space habitats that could house millions of beings from dozens of different species. The old Council of Apex Species still existed, but its influence had shrunk dramatically as world after world chose to join the Federation instead. The Council's rigid hierarchy and technological elitism simply couldn't compete with an organization that valued cooperation and innovation over mere advancement. Former General Keth, now serving as Federation military coordinator, had perhaps summed up the transformation best during a recent strategy meeting. For millennia, the galaxy was dominated by those who possessed the most advanced weapons he had observed. Now it is led by those who possess the most advanced ideas. As Admiral Kate brought the Unity into Earth orbit, she could see the orbital shipyards where the next generation of Federation vessels was being constructed. These ships would carry mixed crews to distant galaxies, spreading the Federation's message of cooperation and mutual benefit to civilizations that had never imagined such possibilities. On the planet's surface, in what had once been alien mining facilities, humans and their former occupiers worked side by side to develop technologies that neither species could have created alone. The research stations buzzed with activity as Scythian engineering, Mithran computation, Volari energy manipulation, and human creativity combined to push the boundaries of what was possible. Don, send a message to all Federation worlds. Kate commanded as Earth filled the main screen. Tell them that humanity has learned the most important lesson the galaxy has to offer, that strength comes not from domination, but from cooperation, and that the future belongs to those brave enough to build it together. The message would travel through quantum communication networks that spanned half the galaxy, reaching worlds where beings who had once considered humanity primitive now looked to Earth as the center of a new kind of civilization. It was a civilization built not on the superiority of any one species, but on the recognition that when different forms of intelligence worked together, they could achieve things that none of them could accomplish alone. The age of galactic empires was ending, and the age of galactic cooperation had begun.